I don't blame her.
Okay, so we're on to 9.3. Financial Information Service Preliminary Capital Budget.
Well, I was hoping for more of an audience, but I guess everybody's not as excited about budgets.
People are here.
I'm excited. So what I've got for you today, first of all, good morning, Council. I hope you're having a great morning so far.
Just lovely.
Yeah. So what I have for you today is a request for decision to do kind of a preliminary approval of capital budget. So it's essentially, there are two attachments here. The first one is an excerpt from the existing approved 5-year capital investment plan, so the 23-24 fiscal capital budget and the 24-25 as they currently exist.
Yep.
And basically it's taking all these items and giving you an update as to what the plans are and presenting the first part of the 24-25 capital budget, which is entirely based on the existing 23-24 and 24-25.
The changes you want to make coming up.
Right, anything that's more substantial or was not already included will come later with the rest of the budget. This is just the stuff that's already been approved and sitting in the plan, and an update as to what's going on with those projects. So to start with, so basically the RFD is here. It includes, I've got a bunch of tables that kind of go through each of the different categories of what's happened to projects. So I'm just going to go through those with you here. So the first one at the bottom of the first page, starting at the bottom of the first page, is this is projects that are in the 23-24 budget, which are completed or expected to be completed by the end of this year, along with the existing budget and the estimate for the total costs, including in a couple cases the total cost of the project where it was a multi-year project. I don't intend to go through too many of these in detail unless there are any questions about any of those. The next table is items that are in the current 5-year plan but are being removed from that plan. So there's a few items from the 23-24 budget. There are 3 trail bridge repairs items. These are bridges that were washed out during the floods of 2023, which are being repaired under the Provincial Disaster Financing Facilities Program. And so not that they're not being done, just that they're no longer included in Chester's budget. And there's also one of the active transportation, the ICIP funded projects. As you're aware, over the years since we first got approved, there's been changes to costing and there's had to be some decisions made to kind of reprioritize that funding into the projects. And this is the one that's sort of fallen off and is being left to sit for a future potential project, but basically doesn't fit within the remaining.
So that's the sidewalk from Western Shore to George that you're talking about?
That's correct, the Western Shore George Road.
So it's just deferred for at least 5 years, is that?
Well, not necessarily, it's just, it was included in that batch of all the ICIP funded active transportation stuff, and because of all the changes to cost and the reprioritization of that, it's the one that kind of fell off the list. It's still there. If there were new funding options that came up, perhaps it would be one of the top ones to get put in there, but it's the one that has fallen off that list for now.
Yep.
No, you know, to me, I would like to see, you know, instead of, because I see it where they paved the Washington through that area. To me, the best way to do anything, and you can do it through the whole municipality when they pave, are put the walking lanes in. Less cost, they get plowed when they plow the road. I'm a firm believer in that, because I walk them all the time. I don't even use the sidewalk, to tell you the truth, when I walk.
So you don't want
Just my opinion.
You don't want any more sidewalks over your way.
Well, no, it's not that, but I just think it's a better use of tax dollars. I just think it's a better use of tax dollars. I do. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack your presentation.
Okay, moving on.
And then there were a few items in the 24-25 investment plan that are being removed. Another one of the trail repairs because of that same flooding issue and the promised disaster financing assistance. The same of the George Road to Vaughan Road. That's just it was budgeted over a couple of years initially. And then the rapid rectangular flashing beacons have been removed from that capital investment plan. The next table is items that are included in the existing plan but are not being presented here today, but we do expect to bring back to you. Just there were enough of a change to some of them that we wanted to make sure that we have more information and not just a quick hit approval sort of thing.
Yeah.
So a number of these just because, they've been sitting, like for example, the East River Trail footbridge has been sitting in the budget for a few years. And it needs to be reassessed and the budget is likely to be increased. And so before we present that to you for approval, we want to get you more information.
Better numbers, yeah.
Yeah, similar with the rest of these, right? So there's the East River Trail footbridge, the Middle River Hahn property accessibility connector trail, the remainder of the open spaces implementation, the uniform signage work, and there's a little bit for the Wild Rose washroom renovation. That's about funding allocation because the work that was done was under a particular funding agreement, which not all of the work was able to get completed in time. And so that funding would no longer apply. We need to come back and present a different funding option for the remaining stub of the work. And that'll come at a later date as well.
I just have a question about the Hahn property, the accessible connector trail, and that might be a question for Chad. What is the length of that?
I don't know right off the top of it because it's the additional trail that goes basically from Highway 3, the new parking lot that was created to the trail, the perimeter trail.
The Chester Connection Trail, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can get that number for you.
No, that's okay. Well, yeah, because I think that'll be of interest to me. And the New Ross Trail Society, when they come out for the second time under the budgeted grant consideration in terms of what, again, the budget around trails in the municipality. So thank you for that. I'm putting the pieces together, so thank you for that.
Okay.
And then on to the next page, there's two items that were initially or currently in the 24-25 plan, which are being deferred. So these ones are really about life cycle needs. So they were planned to happen based on estimated timing of asset lives. However, so for the VMware infrastructure, that's our server software, or server hardware. That's I believe it's a 5-year life cycle, and the last replacement got delayed by a year due to, I believe, COVID issues. And so because it's a 5-year lifespan, we're just pushing that out another year.
Yeah.
Similarly with the 1-ton truck at the landfill, that was on an estimated life cycle from reviewing asset condition and how many miles are on it. Basically, it said we don't need to do that yet, so we're going to push that off into the future as well. The next table is really kind of the summary of all the items that are being taken from those 23-24 capital budget and 24-25 and being presented to you today as items that we'd like to have approved ahead of time so that we can get going on procurement activities ahead of construction season. So I've listed all the items from the 23-24 budget in this first table, starting on page 3. With the current approved budget amount, the proposed 24-25 budget amount, and then some notes. The vast majority of these are either just carrying forward the project with the same budget or the amount that we expect. Some of them will have been partially completed by the end of the year, and so we'd be carrying forward just the existing approved amounts. There are a small handful of small exceptions. The King Street concrete repair and timber repair under trail bridge repairs, that's the third item. The budget estimate has gone from 25 to 30,000. That's basically all those other trail bridge items that have been removed from the budget. I didn't feel it was too controversial to increase a little bit there while we're removing all these other ones that we don't have to pay for anymore. Anywhere you see a note that says carry forward and then 23-24 spending, that's the estimate of what we're going to spend in the current year, and it's just a carry forward of that unspent amount.
I have a question around that in terms of that particular section before, I don't know if we're moving on or not, but around the Gold River Trail bridge repair, 4 million and some change. And that might be, again, another question for recreation specifically, but just remind me of that $4 million, where that's going and what it's being spent on.
That was for the replacement bridge for the Gold River Bridge.
Yeah. So it's still, we're in soft costs, or what's that figure? What's it based on?
So that was based on the estimates at the time that was presented to council for approval back in, what was that, last year, or was that 2 years ago now? Time is a blur sometimes.
So again, the $4 million, and again, it could be a recreation, just, I'm looking for a breakdown of that $4 million, like what it's covering, I guess. So maybe I can ask my fellow councilors.
Request for decision.
Just to build a new bridge.
To build a new bridge.
Building the bridge, yeah.
Building a new bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to know
Yeah,
what.
for
what
more
the
detailed
intent-
breakdown, we'd
Yeah.
have to dig back through
That's
the council
okay,
records.
but the 4 million will cover building a new bridge.
That is the plan, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. 4 million. Okay.
I wanted to ask Tara one question, maybe a better Fred question, but we'll try Tara. And I think I asked it before, but I'll ask it one more time. When we do the sidewalks in Chester Basin, will that in any way, I would hate to see the pipe infrastructure we put in damage the sidewalks if we go in and do sidewalks first. And I just wanted to, again, confirm that if we put these sidewalks in, it's not going to be in the way of the pipes that we dig up and put in.
I think it was, my understanding was they were going up the other side of the street.
I'll confirm it.
We
Yeah,
just-
I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll look real bad if we have to tear those
Oh,
sidewalks
I
up.
know, yeah.
I can see under the back of transportation, coming out of the Harvard and New Ross, all the ones there. That says design, does that mean they won't?
So that's what was in the existing 23-24 budget. There was, I believe, initially a $10,000 allowance of the budget for design. If you look at the next table, you'll see those same items. So in the existing capital plan, there was design work on those in 23-24, and then there was construction work in 24-25. The remaining unspent amounts of the design work is being carried forward and being added to what was previously approved for the 24-25. So it's really kind of mashing those 2 years into one. They were kind of presented as two separate pieces.
I guess my question is, when's the proposed time to build?
Well, my understanding is the proposed time to build them would be this coming season.
That's what I wanted to know. Okay, thank you.
Have they been tendered yet?
Don't know that, no.
No,
This is for that.
And it's
Yeah,
not,
we would need to be approved for
Understood,
the
is it
budget, but
realistic to
then
build it, but haven't even tendered it yet?
I have no
This
idea.
season?
I can't answer that, I don't know.
Anyway,
I'm hoping,
well, it would need to be in the budget regardless to try.
I hear you. Yeah.
As with a number of capital projects, sometimes if they don't get finished, they would carry forward.
I understood.
Following
So
year.
just,
Because Allen's was Chester Basin was supposed to be done last year.
Yeah.
And they pushed it to this year.
It's the same with the other ones. They were originally a couple, 1 year ago at least, if I look back. I don't have my notes here, but no, that group was at least a year ago. So,
you don't want to raise expectations, that's the only point.
that's right, yeah.
Okay.
There were a couple other items or there's one other item in the 23-24 for which there's one small change that's being requested here. That is at the top of page 4, the 1-ton truck with a crane for the sewer work. That was originally budgeted at $150,000 for the two of those together, and now we're estimating $160,000. Due to the timing and the need for the asset, I felt that it was okay to put it in here without bringing a whole lot of information with some of the other budget increases. And then the next table is the existing 24-25 plan, which are being included in what's being presented today for approval. So again, this is a lot of stuff that just, it exists, we're leaving it there, we'd like approval to move forward with that. There was the 2 information services items. These are fairly time sensitive for procurement activity, like for example, the orthophotography, that's the aerial photography that we do I think it's every 4 years. I can't remember off the top of my head, to be honest. But it's something that we need to do in the spring when the foliage is low and we can get good imaging. So the cost for that one has gone up an estimated $5,000 compared to the last estimate. And the hardware replacement, that is for the laptops for staff. It's a life cycle timing. And that has estimated to go up by about $9,000. But again, these are based on specific quotes and for time sensitive procurement activities. Other than that, the stuff that's being presented here to you today has not changed in scope or in costs. So essentially, attachment 2 is what I'm requesting council approve as the preliminary capital budget for the upcoming fiscal year. And the options for you today would be either to approve this as presented or to pick items or all of it and suggest to defer it to a later date or some other option.
Just one question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know when I looked at this earlier, I saw somewhere on the table a reference to pig loop. Can you point to that? I can't see it at the moment. I know it's in here. I thought I saw it. I dream about it, so maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, that's where it's
Nightmare.
Yeah, so on page 3, right about the middle of the page, the 23-24 items being included. So the active transportation sidewalks, there's the Chester Our Health Center to Pig Loop sidewalk is being included.
Okay. That's already been built, but almost finished. Was there another reference in there?
So that's one of the items where there has been spending, there has been work done. It's not totally complete, so we need to carry forward the remaining budget to finish that this year or the next year.
That's the only reference to Pig Loop in here.
I believe so, although I can't control F while I'm sitting here with a piece of paper.
No, I understood. And this I find too tiny to read. I'm trying to find it on the screen, but maybe the other one.
It's just above where this, it's a page back from where the screen is showing right now.
Yeah, that's the only reference to pig loop that I've seen.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe that's.
Okay, Gina?
Thank you. Knowing that you're bringing in the final operating and capital budget before the end of fiscal year, I believe, when might that be at this point in time, if you could guess?
The plan right now is to bring it to the March 28th meeting, would be the first budget presentation for the big operating and remaining capital.
Fingers crossed, right on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions at the moment?
I will be away that day.
Somebody
You will be
want,
away
are we
then?
prepared to approve what he's requesting?
So move.
I'll wait for discussion.
So,
I'll second it, and then can we discuss it?
did somebody move it?
No.
Yeah, Tina did.
Oh, Tina did. Oh, move, seconded, discussion.
All right, great. I know this is sort of we're preemptively approving some of these items. Because we're talking a lot about sidewalks and stuff. Is it on the plan to discuss designing a sidewalk at the commons at this point? To your knowledge?
I cannot answer that one right now.
I think that would be part of the budget discussion on the 28th. It would be part of the larger. So these are just really items that have already been approved.
Carry forwards.
Carry forwards, right? To allow us to
Just,
do that.
it
So
brings it to mind because, it's a priority, I think, for some of us.
Yeah, and there are a lot of procurement activities coming on. Like there's this stuff, there's all the new things that are not here that you all are aware of, we'll probably be seeing. There are some other factors that are increasing the needs for procurement. So a lot of this is to try and front load that stuff to try and reduce the bottlenecks when it comes to like the rest of everything.
You've done all you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tina, then Derek.
Just as part of the discussion, I would like to repeat something that I had said at a workshop, and that is that I do not believe that the $4,028,195 will cover the cost of building a new bridge, new Golden River Bridge. Just again, I know I said that in a workshop. My estimate at that time was quite high, so we'll see.
Derek?
Yeah, I guess I may as well put this one to bed in my mind. I think it's in the active transportation file. When the pig loop was mentioned, there was an allocation of 1.6 million for work on the pig loop. Where does that fit into this particular budget?
So if it was part of the active transportation, like that ICIP funding,
Yeah.
that's been lumped together, all those projects here. And that's because the way over time we've had to redo that list as the funding stays the same and costs go up.
Understood.
And some of the approvals for those changes have been made as a program level. So it wasn't specifically like this project is being changed to this amount. It's been as a whole, this is what we expect to spend on these projects. So I think we could probably put together some more detailed stuff, but just due to the nature of some of the approvals of those changes in the last year, this was the way it had to be presented for now.
Yeah, but that was on the, I think it was the active transportation budget. And that is probably the noises, well, it wasn't until Orley Park when the noises, things I had to deal with, but also very important. And I don't see it here, I just didn't know if it's now gone, that 1.6 million.
It's included in that.
So which number is it included in?
So the active transportation.
3 million one?
Yeah, so it's included in the, well, it's 5 point, oh, sorry, that's last year's. So right as presented here, that account, that group of work is budgeted at $7.06 million.
Where do I see that?
That would be on attachment 2, although it's probably quite small. You can see on page 4, the last table there is active transportation sidewalks. There are 3 projects that are included there. And in the notes, so you can see the proposed 24-25 budget of $5.6 million. In the notes, it says the budget is to be combined with the amounts carried forward from 23-24. So the total 24-25 budget for these projects is $7,061,480.
So that 1.6 is in that 7.
It's included in that, yes.
So it's in here?
Yep.
So I didn't dream it. And I want to just emphasize what Andre said about the design for sidewalks, for a sidewalk, beginning of the sidewalk to the commons. That's another discussion, I assume, but it's a priority, I think, for both of us. So just want to make that sure that's on the record.
Yeah, well, when we have our budget discussion, we ought to make sure we got
You can dig it up easy.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried, thank you. Good job.
That's the thing on there. You know, I push like, you just pave the shoulder, if you have to dig it up, no big deal. God, more cost effective.
Good solution.
Okay, 10.1, email Doug Cleveland to consideration regarding coastal zoning.
Yeah, well, actually, Doug's in Moto, but he does own property in ODC, and I've had several conversations with him, and about and this, I think the letter he sent was probably before the province come up with their 15-point plan. I talked to him yesterday, he was sort of pleased about the plan that the province brought out. Not so pleased that Mo's going to go ahead with their plan, according to Carolyn Ball Forgetson on the Todd Vino show yesterday. They're moving full steam ahead. I think everybody around this table knows how I feel about it.
Tell us how you feel.
But anyway, I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention, that I think the province, in their wisdom, has shoved it to the municipalities, like they tried to do with the exchange agreement, trying to download everything here. You know, I just, you know, as I said, I think it's a little bit of overreach for us to tell people. I know we have disagreements around this table with that. And I think the government actually, you know, brought, you know, if you want to build, there's a hazard map that tells you, you know, you can build here, but these are the hazards. You don't really tell me that you can't. So that's the sort of direction that I'd like to see.
Well,
Yeah, it's information. I know it's information. Yeah.
okay, 10.2, Carol Dodge regarding short-term rentals. Well, we've kind of been over that issue and given some direction to staff, so I don't know. Yeah. Fred and I'm concerned with it.
Yeah, she was in the delegation this morning.
Yeah, and we addressed it to a degree. Okay, so I'm on to 11.1, community development agreement for Chester Shore Mall regarding existing fence.
Yeah. Remember that fence?
No longer. Okay, so planning staff received an application for an amendment to the existing development agreement by Econ Malls holding, they own the Chester Shore Mall. Basically, the proposed amendment is to remove a line that requires some screening in that area. The DA was put in place in 1990 and is still in use today. You can see I've attached the application and the site plan. I highlighted the little fenced area, and they also included a photo of the existing vegetation that's there where the fence sort of used to be. So yeah, their application describes their intention to not replace the decrepit fence that may or may not still be there, and in turn to retain the existing mature vegetation. So the next steps are to hold a public information meeting and for staff to review the application and start to draft the amendments. So I'm just looking for direction to proceed with that work.
Yeah, I can give you some context on that, on the fence, because I looked after them all at that time when it was done. And at that time, there was a property next door. I'm not even sure, it was a little white cottage. And the lady that owned it had spoken to the owner who was building the wall and wanted him to buy her property. And then they, whatever, couldn't come to a deal, so it was proposed to put a fence there. But as you see, I mean, there's so much, there's a lot of, there's probably only one property that really has a public meeting that might voice an opinion one way or the other, but yeah, the fence is decrepit, it should be torn down, actually.
So I think they had talked to the development officers and had some discussions about costs of putting in a new fence and the language in the DA. So when I do the language, I would probably include that all the mature vegetation would have to stay, obviously.
Yeah.
That's what I would think,
Yeah.
just keep the vegetation.
Well, yeah, that's there,
And no need for a fence.
No.
100%.
Yeah, but we should hold the public meeting and get on with it. Does somebody want to move that?
I'll move.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion carried. Nice and simple, Emily.
Always.
So far, anyway.
Oh, no, he's family.
Oh, boys, district grants.
All right, it is.
They're usually reasonably straightforward.
I don't know if there's anything in here particularly contentious. There's three applications. One for District 3 for Chester Minor Hockey, 2,000, two for District 6, one from New Ross Preschool Society for $1,000, and one from the New Ross Fire Department Farmers Market, basically that the rink committee as well for another $1,000. So I guess unless there's any questions or the particular councillors would like to speak.
I have a question. There was one from the Legion as well that came forward, but didn't make it to the agenda. Will that be here next week?
That will be the next council meeting. Yes, so there's about, I think I have 3 or 4 that have come in since the agenda was put together. So they would be on the next council meeting, yes.
And that's 2 weeks hence.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. I want to put a motion on the minor hockey one, and Sharon and I usually talk about these, but we haven't. But you're asking for 2. I'm going to make a motion that we grant $1,000. But I want to revisit this because I'm concerned with the amount of commitments that are out there and money I have left. So I'd like to make a motion to approve $1,000 with the view of bringing it back. Because it's only next month we have to do this.
Correct.
And it may want to increase that at that time, but I want them to know they have 1,000 at this point.
Seconder for the motion?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion is carried. District 6?
We'll talk.
District 6, New Ross Preschool, $1,000. Somebody prepared to move, we approve it?
So moved.
Second. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion is carried. District 6, New Ross Fire Department, $1,000. Somebody move it?
So moved.
Second that.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion is carried. I have 12. I don't know.
Sorry, Ellen, if I could just add a response to an earlier question. So the distance of the trail at the Hahn property is 800 meters.
800 meters. Okay, I'll put that on the budget. Thank you.
11.3, Corporate Strategic Management Year-End Safety Report and Safety Work Plan.
A lot of trip there.
Coming up to do the safety.
Yeah, exactly. Good morning, Council.
You're right, that's something.
I'll take the opportunity to bring you up to date on the year-end 2023 safety report. just a review of the incidences and the programs that we have ongoing. So in 2023, we had 15 employee-related incidences and 12 non-employee incidences, which we are tracking. And of the 15, we had 3 that resulted in minor injuries. Unfortunately, we did have 1 serious injury, 1 lost time injury, but I'm glad to say that the employee returned to work very quickly and returned to full duty within several weeks. So that was a slip and fall on some heavy equipment out of the Kaiser plant. We had 3 incidents involving municipal vehicles, only resulting in some minor property damage, and there was no major traffic accidents or injuries reported with the municipal vehicles. So we're doing very well there. We're making progress on our ergonomic training and assessments continued. We have 2 employees that we're working with, and we've retained a certified ergonomist to assist staff with those assessments. And we're planning to expand the program to non-office employees. We've identified some of the ergonomic issues when dealing with heavy equipment and working in the field. So we're going to expand that program. We had 1 incident related to some cooking odors, and we've taken care of that. Related to Human Resources has put up some anti-allergy and notifications in the kitchens.
Yeah, I'm not having to bring lobsters anymore.
You don't need to go into details. We won't go into details. But we do track those. So, as of January 2024, we've had no lost time incidences, and our last one was in March. We've now exceeded 80,000 hours on our way to our next milestone. The last milestone we had was over 233,000 hours without injury, which was an achievement that we rewarded staff last year. The 12 incidences were involving the public. We had 3 incidents involving injury, and those are all with our insurance company at this present time. We had 4 incidents involving verbal abuse to our frontline staff and from members of the public. So we're working on some security upgrades in that area at this time. And then 5 incidents related to vehicles owned and operated by the public on our
I
property.
guess verbal abuse to us doesn't count, or does it?
Well, I'll take a note on that.
You recorded me.
Yeah, exactly.
On paper report.
Yeah. The other ones were results of public driving on our property and having some fender benders and things, just non-attention issues. Just some positive corrective action. There's no further reports of any trips and falls in the Parade Square area. So our corrective action is seemed to work here. Similarly, there's been very little incidents at our public drop-off bins. So again, the corrective action seems to be working there. And another positive note, the number of fire-related incidences at the landfill, we only have 1 minor one this year, touch wood, but that's a significant improvement in that area. So.
Oh, sorry, Blake.
Yeah.
You do cover 4 departments now, right, for compensation, or they're covering municipality pays for it?
Under WCB, yes.
Yeah. Is that tracked, or is that come back to reflect on what we do, or any way they have access, or anything like that?
It's completely independent accounts from our own staff. What we do is we track the number of firefighters that are under the program. We maintain that records through finance. And we don't become involved in the individual claims because those are actually between the fire department and the member themselves. So each fire department has a representative that is taking care of those. Is there a specific question on that?
No, it's just I wondered, did anyone track what they're doing or the incidents, or do they have some type of a safety program or the in-house or?
Well, as in my other report, in this report also, our rates have gone up significantly due to some claims from the fire departments on their accounts. We're actually about 89 cents versus 70 cents. So we're going to be taking that back to the fire departments. I would say that a lot of them are claims that have happened prior to, and they're some that they're dealing with previous injuries. Yeah, so, but we're following up with the fire departments on that.
Okay.
Just a quick update on our inspection programs are completely up to date, which we put a lot of focus in 2023 to get them back on track. So we are on track. On our incident, on our WCB, we just talked about that a little bit, but for the municipality, we're still at a merit position, 84% lower than the industry average. And that's about a 25% merit position, results in 91 cents off our rate. I'm estimating roughly savings of $7,300 per year, and if we compare it to other municipalities, we'd be in the range of $30,000 difference with that rating. And just as I said, a note to on the firefighters there, I did mention that it's 89 cents versus 70 cents, so they are running a little bit higher.
Does that impact our rate at all?
I'm sorry?
Does that impact our
No,
rate
it
at all?
doesn't. It is completely independent.
Okay.
It affects our budgeting because we're paying for it, but yeah, so. One of the things there is that you'll see an increase, the province put through the cancer coverage, and a lot of those are claims that are coming through now under the program for some of our older firefighters, and so you may see a rise in that over the next little while. From the occupational side of health and safety, I just gave you some highlights there. We did complete our audit, got our certificate of certification. We continued, as I said, on our site inspections. We increased our employee orientation program and our ergonomic program. We're now working on our respiratory program, primarily for the outside staff. And we're starting work on our mental health in the workplace program in conjunction with the committee. And as I said, we recognized over 230,000 hours for last year. The safety plan update, which I attached, is really to address some of the opportunities for improvement recommendations made in the audit report. They were focused on the updating our comprehensive hazard assessment. That was an assessment we did many years ago where we listed out the hazards associated with all tasks that we could identify across the municipality. So it's a very large document, but we are committed to reviewing that because there have been process changes going forward. We're focusing in on management and supervisory training and our update of safe work practices, and then assistance in the mental health area in the workplace. So that's the highlights of the program, and I would motion or ask for a motion to accept the report and the work plan for the following year.
Somebody
Any questions?
I'll so move.
I'll second it. Good job.
I'd like to thank you for the support and the staff and the jobs committee and getting these things done. It's great.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried.
Good. Thank you very much.
Okay, that completes the agenda. So we're essentially adjourned.
No, we're only.
We're going in camera. Oh, well, we can take a 5-minute break, yeah.